We operate a true distributive leadership style at St Michael's, so we were very keen for all of the staff and all of the children to be involved in the creation of such a scheme. Working with all of the staff, we decided to focus on the 4 capacities and really hone back in on them. And from the 4 capacities, we looked at accreditation within each individual one of the 4 capacities, and we came up with 4 different headings. So the first one is successful learners. We've called that leadership and learning. The second one, confident individuals, has the title staying healthy, staying safe. Our third one, which is effective contributors, is kindness and caring. And our fourth one is responsible citizens, which they have titled proactive citizens of our world. We very quickly realised that this learning for sustainability focus within this 4th capacity tied in with the new standards for full registration, which really puts learning for sustainability at the heart of the curriculum. Working with all staff and children, we had different focus groups where we engaged learners and staff in discussions about what things they wanted into their accreditation scheme. And as Hilary already said, the bronze is their entitlement. We pulled ideas from staff and children about experiences that they already had at St Michael's, and very quickly staff and children realised that this was nothing new. This was just recognising what we were already doing, and then actually that they were going to get an award and accredited for something that they're already doing. Staff were very keen on the fact that this was not an increase to their workload, and that this was actually a great selling point. Great, look at what we actually do already. We then decided to take it one step further and introduce the second level, which was silver, and how do we inspire children and make them reach for the stars, which is our school motto, and that was where we created our gold level. So children are inspired and spurred on to take on more challenges, things that are slightly more difficult and things that they wouldn't already be trying anyway. I'm a probationer supporter at St Michael's Primary, and working with my probationer last session, we decided to ask my probationer, as part of their project within their authority working, to lead and take this forward. So in her Primary 4 class, she led forward just 1 capacity, and she decided to focus on the successful learners, leadership and learning. And all of the children were then given the task of, what can you do? Can you evidence this? And they kept all of the evidence in their My Journey jotters, so this was no added workload for themselves or their parents. Parents were very quickly on board with all of this, and they realised the benefits at home for themselves. And the tasks that we've involved in the accreditation scheme can be very simple tasks. For example, life skills tasks, where some children were cooking a family meal, and the feedback was phenomenal from the parents. They were so enthused that their child was dying to make a meal at home and to help with the dishes and different things like that. So upon reflection, we had a working group of children and parents and staff, and we evaluated the trial, and we identified that this was definitely a way forward, and the children were very, very keen for this to expand and to be able to accredit and to achieve in other areas. Having an overview of the progression of this scheme from P1 to P7, I worked with different working groups of children and staff to ensure that there was a progression from Primary 1 to Primary 7, and that all of the challenges within this scheme were relevant to each and every child within the school, and that it offered progression, pace and challenge. The children very quickly identified that they wanted to call this scheme something, and they came up with their own name for it, so they had ownership of it, and they decided to call it their Skill Awards, which stands for Successful, Kind, Individual Lovers of Learning. And they talked about their love of learning in school, outside of school, and they loved the fact that this scheme recognised both areas of learning and how they actually came together, and they go hand in hand. The children also wanted to have some formal recognition for their accreditation and wanted to have certificates. So being eco-friendly, we decided that we weren't going to issue the standard A4 size certificate, and we have made them pocket size certificates, which has got the area that they've achieved accreditation in, their different colour that they've achieved accreditation in, and it's actually got the criteria on the back as well, which reminds them of the success that they have had, and these are handy to go on your fridge at home instead of the big usual A4, and it's especially handy if you have more than one child. In wanting to keep children's learning in one place and giving them an avenue to evidence their work, we record everything in their My Journey Jotters. And at the back of their My Journey Jotter, we have got the relevant grid for the stage that they're at and their individual sheet where they're able to put their stickers on, and they get their award when they get to put their sticker onto their grid. The children take full responsibility for this, and they are required to highlight anything that they can evidence, and they evidence it within their My Journey Jotter in the wider achievement section. Staff are then able just to check that the evidence is there, that it has been highlighted off, and then they're able to get their accreditation within their area at whichever specific level they have managed to achieve. Parents regularly sign these My Journey Jotters. They go home every day so that it's a continual dialogue between parent, school and child. When we started to trial this, we knew that there was going to be a significant impact on our learners and their families. The enthusiasm for this was overwhelming. The children very quickly reached their goals because they were so inspired and wanted to go and do everything all in the one night. Parents, it enhanced our communication with our parents, and they were forthcoming with their emails. They were sending us different forms of evidence because they didn't have facilities at home, so we facilitated that for families that needed that level of support. They wanted to come in and tell us about what they had done. They reported that there was a much more positive atmosphere at home because their child was actively seeking out jobs and ways in which they could help rather than relying on mum and dad to do it all. So there was a very significant impact on our children, and our member of staff as well reported that it was such a nice way to engage with home in a very positive way, so that it was very positive dialogue between school and home about children's learning, and it really opened up those discussions about learning.